Horrible. You can submit it here. Guys, what is this? There it is, right below the top floor. The entire balcony has completely fallen off. Here, everything is chaos. The 11th of July, friends, and Russia is going underwater. No, Chechnya, Dagestan, Kirovsk, Yaroslavl are being torn apart by a powerful enemy. Nature is taking revenge on it for all its misdeeds. In Chechnya, there's a hurricane, roofs are flying off like paper. Hail the size of cherries is smashing cars in Omsk. In Chechnya, there's a hurricane, roofs are flying off like paper. In Yaroslavl, a concrete pole injures a 12-year-old boy. In Kirovsk, there's an ice fall, snow in the middle of summer, sparks from the wires. Horrible. Unbelievable. Guys, what is going on? An elderly woman in Omsk survived after a balcony collapsed. A street in Khabarovsk is underwater, billboards have been knocked down. Boom. Bada boom. This isn't weather. This is retribution. Friends, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dasha, and write a few kind words in support of Ukraine in the comments, as well as where you're watching from. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started. Nature doesn't forget. If you've spent years destroying all living things, one day it comes back around. In Russia, it's blow after blow. First Omsk, then heavy rains, then Hurricane City. A balcony falls on a pensioner and she miraculously survives. Head injury, broken collarbone. The authorities remain silent. Major Russian cities are going underwater. Yaroslavl. A concrete pole crushed a 12-year-old boy. The wind tore it out by the roots. The child suffered multiple fractures. In Kirovsk, there's an ice fall in the middle of summer. Snow, ice, storms, accidents on the roads. And all this is happening against the backdrop of heat waves in other regions. And this is how the hurricane hit Khabarovsk. Winds up to 20 meters per second. Streets are flooded, billboards have been blown down. The shopping center is floating like a barge. In Dagestan and Chechnya, disaster has struck again. A tornado is knocking down trees, roofs are flying off like pieces of paper, cars are being turned into wreckage. And this is just Russia. The entire staircase is gone. Look, the balcony on the second floor has completely fallen off.
This keeps happening over and over, as if something above is desperately trying to get through to us. Look at what you've done. But not everyone understands this yet. But nature remembers and pays it back. And now a powerful hurricane has already hit Khabarovsk in Russia. Wind speeds reach 20 meters per second in the city. Billboards were torn down, streets and the shopping center were flooded. A fierce hurricane struck Chechnya and Dagestan. The wind knocked down trees and tore roofs of houses. Trees fell onto cars.
And this is China, and it's underwater. Several provinces at once, massive flooding, the rains won't stop, and the water level keeps rising. In Guizhou province, it's the second hit in a week. 6 dead, 40,000 evacuated. Streets, shops, and residential neighborhoods are flooded. A level 4 alert has been declared. Authorities warn that landslides will follow. People are panicking. The city is drowning. And now the USA. In Texas, more than 110 people have died, flooding in Kerr County. CNN reports dozens of children dead, many of them from the Christian Camp Mystic. In New Mexico, water is sweeping away residential homes. A man and 2 children have drowned. A state of emergency has been declared. According to authorities, in just 45 minutes, the Guadalupe River rose by 8 meters. Campsites, roads, homes and schools have been washed away. This is hell. And it didn't come from underground, but from the sky. Meanwhile, China is going underwater, and in the US, rivers are sweeping away houses. Streets, shops, and residential neighborhoods are flooded, and that's not all. Authorities warn that with the rains, more is to come. Oh, later. A level 4 alert has been declared, and more than 1,500 people have been evacuated. There are casualties.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Well, against the backdrop of floods and hurricanes in Russia, Russian channels are discussing Putin's victory in the elections and promising a bright future. Until 1936, propaganda doesn't sink, it just floods the airwaves with lies. Let's see what they say and what's really going on.
And today, Trump, through the State Department, I'm telling you, is dissatisfied with Putin, dissatisfied. I'm telling you, he's dissatisfied with Putin. Why is that? And I'm dissatisfied with BRICS too. I'm telling you, I'm dissatisfied with everything in general. Why aren't they lining up If everyone's so smart, I told you, train, stop on my count. You have to stop. But why? So Trump decided that he's what, a Tsar? And you think you'll be the queen of the world or something?
He did it.
Suddenly it happened. And just look at how beautifully they walk there, how he struts around. Trump, yeah, sanctions, am I considering them? Am I not considering them? The main thing is they really don't like it. He's even started speaking rather rudely. Before our eyes, Trump is undergoing Bidenization. Trump, from being the only one who could talk to Putin, is turning into just another version of Biden. And by doing so, does he seriously think he can just talk down to us now and we'll obey? He still hasn't understood anything. He doesn't understand that we act in accordance with our national interests. And if Trump doesn't like that, it only shows that he still hasn't understood anything about Russia. Which means he's offering us terms that don't align with our views on what is good for us. And why should we do Trump any favors? Really, the very idea why on earth should we do anything for Trump? Do him a favor? I have a simple question. What percentage will Trump believe it if we say we'll wipe America off the face of the earth? What percentage will Trump believe it when he realizes that two Poseidons launched from different directions of the vast North American continent will inevitably create a devastating radioactive tsunami, which will forever form a significant strait named after the revered comrade Stalin? And to what extent will Comrade Trump understand and believe it when he realizes that our submarines of a certain class are equipped with weapons powerful enough that nothing even close has yet been built? A protective element, a golden dome, a diamond one, a crappy one, whatever kind you like, could protect America from a strike near its territory. Or does he seriously believe that as soon as they launch a ballistic missile or raise their damn B-2S, which are visible to us, which will try to strike our territory, are we just going to sit there and say, oh, look, no, we'll just wipe you off the face of the earth, to hell with you? If you think our Supreme Commander-in-Chief was joking with you when he said, why would we need a world without Russia? Or if you think it was just a random figure of speech when he said that a retaliatory strike means we go to heaven and you die instantly. Are you out of your mind? Who do you think you are? Seriously though, who do you Americans think you are? All of you, get a grip, you bastards.
No one has ever fought for the family, ever. Because the family was everywhere. The family was widespread, indestructible, large, and so on and so forth. And today that's where our Russian foolishness comes from. Like over there, some will die, but women will just give birth to more. We'll just overwhelm them with numbers or something like that. But now we've reached a time when women aren't giving birth to anyone anymore. They've become weak, cowardly, depraved, and don't want to have children. And we won't be overwhelming anyone with numbers. If it comes to overwhelming with numbers, India and China could overwhelm all of Yuzevan. If you only give them half a head each, they'd still do it. But not us, we're disappearing, our numbers are shrinking, so we need to preserve our people. In other words, there's such a thing as the practice of preserving the nation. That is, we need to take care of our people. We need to protect our people from drug addiction, from dying in drunk driving accidents, from alcoholism, from senseless deaths like what happens among young people. All these so-called trained surfers risk their lives and die for nothing. It would be better if they went to the front. At least on the front lines, they would die as soldiers with a weapon in their hand.
I just arrived from Brest. This morning, I got off the train. I attended commemorative events honoring the beginning of the Great Patriotic War at the Brest Fortress. And let me tell you this, I spoke with, well, I won't say with whom or how or why. The Poles are currently heavily fortifying the border, and it's absolutely clear why they're doing this. They made a mess here. The key word, made a mess. Made a mess. If they hadn't made a mess, they should get hit on the head. They should, and they understand perfectly well that sooner or later they will get hit on the head. No matter what kind of mines they lay along the borders, And no matter what they do, the time will come, I'm more than sure of it, and they'll get hit on the head.
No one has ever fought for the family, ever. Because the family was everywhere, the family was ubiquitous, indestructible, with many children, and so on and so forth. And today, this is where our Russian foolishness was born. They say some will die there, women will give birth to others. We'll just overwhelm them with numbers or something like that. But now the time has come when women no longer want to give birth to anyone. They've become weak, cowardly, depraved, and don't want to have children. And we won't be overwhelming anyone with numbers anymore. If it comes to overwhelming with numbers, then India and China could overwhelm all of you if you only gave them half a head each. Now they really could overwhelm us with numbers, but we can't. We're disappearing. Our numbers are shrinking. That's why we need to preserve our people. In other words, there is such a thing as the practice of preserving the nation. That is, we need to take care of our people. We need to protect our people from drug addiction, from dying behind the wheel while drunk. We need to protect our people from alcoholism, protect them from senseless deaths, like what happens among young people. For example, those train surfers and others risk their lives and die for nothing. It would be better if they went to the front and died there as soldiers with weapons in their hands.
I thought, well, maybe I really am missing something. Maybe I don't know the history of the region well enough. So I went and looked. Where is this history of Great Azerbaijan that was supposedly interrupted by the military intervention of the Russian Empire? I couldn't find any Azerbaijan. There wasn't even in general such an ethnicity as Azerbaijanis, couldn't find it. So this very ethnicity that we now know as Azerbaijanis, with all due respect apparently, was also invented by the Soviet authorities.
If Russia so much as raises an eyebrow for a second, we are, after all, Azerbaijan's third largest trading partner. And I want to remind you of the amount of money that is transferred from Russia to Azerbaijan, not from Azerbaijan to Russia. Or, considering the 300 kilometers of border, and reading what they allow themselves, and seeing what they dare to say on central television, though, you want to go to war? Some countries have already had problems because of this, naively believing they could get away with it, and then bitterly regretted it. That's why I believe that the activities of British and Turkish intelligence services on the territory of Azerbaijan aimed at destabilization will ultimately lead to only one outcome: to unimaginable losses and profound tragedy for the sensible residents of Azerbaijan.
There are, all sorts of considerations, all sorts of circumstances, internal factors, internal politics, but I'm not talking about our internal politics, I'm talking about our neighbors. Well, it's sad, it's unfortunate, sad and unfortunate. Where will this lead? To nothing good. Well, at the very least, to serious economic losses. Especially if Russia holds, as in the case with Azerbaijan, the third place in terms of trade turnover. And as you know, what we supply to Azerbaijan is not oil and gas, but let's say products with higher added value. That's all there is to it. That's the whole picture.
With all due respect to Azerbaijan, its history and traditions, if Russia so much as raises an eyebrow for a moment, we are, after all, Azerbaijan's third largest trading partner. And I want to remind you of the amount of money that is transferred from Russia to Azerbaijan, not from Azerbaijan to Russia. And then, apparently, the situation could change dramatically. That's exactly what they're counting on. Or considering the 300 kilometers of border and reading what people allow themselves to say and seeing what is said on central television, though, you really want to go to war. I'm sure that not a single person in their right mind living in Azerbaijan would ever go that far in their foolishness.
Give this a like. Subscribe to my channel, Dasha Shasliva. We work for audience worldwide. People know truth about Russian aggression, Russia's war against Ukraine. That's why every comment and subscription helps ensure that as many people as possible around the world see this video. Stay with us, stay on the bright side. Friends, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. We will definitely win.